जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यमुनातीरावनचारि यमुना तीरावनचारि यमुना तीरावनचारि यमुना तीरावनचारि जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी 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 जय ओम विश्वपाद परम सुप्रिय गजकचार्य श्रोत्र श्री श्रीमद अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी शीला प्रभुपाद की जय। इस्कॉन फाउंडर आचार्य शीला प्रभुपाद की जय। ब्यूटी फाउंडर आचार्य शीला प्रभुपाद की जय। जय ओम विश्वपाद परमहंस प्रिय प्रजगाचार्य स्तोत्र श्री श्रीमद भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गो गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरिराज गोवर्धन की जय। गंगा माई यमुना माई की जय। भक्ति देवी तुलसी महारानी की जय। हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। मथुरा वृंदावन धाम की जय। नवदीप मायापुर धाम की जय। पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय। शीला अद्वैताचार्य महा अद्वैताचार्य अपीयरेंस डे महामहोत्सव की जय। ऑल ग्लोरीज टू द assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories, all glories to Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंद जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंद जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंद जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंद। श्री चैतन्य चरितामृत आदि लीला चैप्टर 6 वर्स नंबर 12। जगत मंगल अद्वैत मंगल गुण धाम मंगल चरित्र सदा मंगल यंत्र नाम जगत मंगल अद्वैत मंगल गुण धाम मंगल चरित्र सदा मंगल यार नाम जगत मंगल अद्वैत मंगल गुण धाम मंगल चरित्र सदा मंगल यार नाम। Translation: Being a reservoir of all auspicious attributes, Sri Advaita Acharya is all auspicious for the world. His characteristics, activities, and name are always auspicious. Purport by His Divine Grace, Abhay Charana Aravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Sri Advaita Prabhu, who is an incarnation of Mahavishnu, is an Acharya or teacher. All his activities and all other activities of Vishnu are auspicious. Anyone who can view the all auspiciousness in the pastimes of Lord Vishnu also becomes auspicious simultaneously. Therefore, Since Lord Vishnu is the fountainhead of auspiciousness, anyone who is attracted by the devotional service of Lord Vishnu can render the greatest service to human society. Rejected persons of the material world who refuse to understand pure devotional service as the eternal function of the living entities and as actual liberation of the living being from conditioned life become bereft of all devotional service because of their poor fund of knowledge. In the teachings of Advaita Prabhu, there is no question of fruitive activities or impersonal liberation. Bewildered by the spell of material energy, however, persons who do not understand that Advaita Prabhu is non different from Vishnu wanted to follow him with their impersonal conceptions. The attempt of Advaita Prabhu to punish them is also auspicious. Lord Vishnu and his activities can bestow all good fortune, directly and indirectly. In other words, being favored by Lord Vishnu and being punished by Lord Vishnu are one and the same because all the activities of Vishnu are absolute. According to some, Mangala was another name of Advaita Prabhu. As the causal incarnation or Lord Vishnu's incarnation for a particular occasion, he is the supply agent or ingredient in material nature. However, he is never to be considered material. All his activities are spiritual. Anyone who hears about and glorifies him becomes glorified himself. For such activities, free one from all kinds of misfortune. One should not invest in any material contamination or impersonalism in the Vishnu form. Everyone should try to understand the real identity of Vishnu, of Lord Vishnu, for by such knowledge one can attain the highest stage of perfection. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्तस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाख्या चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं नमो ॐ विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं प्रणमामि भक्तशक्तिकं जय श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृन्द हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे राम 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 हरे हरे मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयति गिरिं यत्कृपातहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारिणं वंशकल्पतरुष कृपा सिन्धुवे च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. So, we are reading from Chaitanya Charitamrita. The chapter is The Glories of Sri Advaita Acharya. Being a reservoir of all auspicious attributes, Sri Advaita Acharya is all auspicious for the world. His characteristics, activities, and name are always auspicious. So, um, as usual, we know everybody because we are all devotees over here. We know that Advaita Acharya is a plenary incarnation of the Lord. Yes, Panchatattva Makam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Pranamami Bhakta Shaktikam. So he's an incarnation of the Lord, Lord Chaitanya. When in the Panchatattva, if you see, Nityanand Prabhu is himself, Lord Chaitanya himself. Uh, and the incarnation is Advaita Acharya. Yes. Who is Advaita Acharya? He is Sadashiva and Mahavishnu together. Yes. Sadashiva is the spiritual form of Lord Shiva. And Lord Mahavishnu, as we know, the one who sleeps and creates all the air bubbles of universes. He is Advaita Acharya is both together. Yes, Advaita Acharya is both together. And instead of going into the nitty gritties that okay, Mahavishnu is so big and then how small we are, we'll enter the pastimes of Advaita Acharya for today's class because the most amazing pastime which I found, which I like, I always feel amazed with Advaita Acharya's incarnation. We'll share one of that. So we know that Advaita Acharya is 52 years elder to Lord Chaitanya himself. 52. Yes, that's why in the Panchatattva we see that he has a beard and all just to signify that he is that old. He's elder to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by 52 years old. And being so elderly, yes, so elderly to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he came obviously a long time back. Yes, he came a long time back in Shantipur. And over there, his parents had actually departed long before when he was a teenager. So he had moved to Shantipur, and there were other devotees, like we know Haridas Thakur came to Shantipur. When we hear about Advaita Acharya, the first thing which we get to know is that he was the reason that Lord Chaitanya came to this material world. Yes, because Lord Chaitanya actually says when in the Mahaprakash Lila or in one of his activities, he mentions that because of Advaita, yes, because of Advaita Prabhu, that I have come to this material world to benefit the whole material world. It's only and only to fulfill Advaita Acharya's prayers. Yes, and how did he do that? Yes, that state 50 years before before Lord Chaitanya came, right? Shantipur and Mayapur, which is very near to Shantipur, is actually was filled as the center of learning for the whole of the world actually. And being the center of learning, it was attracting so many scholars. Yes, we need to understand what the state of Mayapur and Shantipur was at that moment, at that point. Navadvip was the center of learning. Navadvip was the center of all education. And that's why people from all over the world used to come to Navadvip. Now, sometimes we might feel that, hey, how is it possible, that people are coming from all over the world? But if you see at a university like ASU and Arizona State University, we see so many people coming from so many world, from so many parts of the world. So many Indians are over here already. So it is not amazing that yes, Navadvip will be attracting so many people, and the topmost Brahmins were present in Navadvip. But none of them actually focused on the ultimate aim of life, which was going back home, back to Godhead, or which was attaining love of God. Yes, attaining love of God. And everybody had forgotten. Everybody were used to doing karma kanda activities. Even today, if you see that most of the Indians, most in the whole world, in most religions, the purpose of religion today has become sense gratification. Yes, that how can I exploit the Lord? How can I how can I ask something from the Lord? How can I fulfill my desires from the Lord? How can I be happy in this material world without following the laws of nature? Yes, without following the laws of nature. The whole purpose of this material world is to get out of this material world. Yes, it is to get out of this material world. But everyone, most of us, I myself included, and the whole world included, wants to satisfy and lord their personal desires onto a material nature. They want to be the controller, proprietor, and enjoyer. Yes, we don't want to accept that there is a higher power. The ultimate problem with atheism and Mayavad, because in this verse right now it is mentioned that Advaita Acharya is not impersonalist. Yes, the followers of Advaita are not impersonalists, and we should not be impersonalists and we should not be Mayavadis. Why does somebody want to negate the purpose of the Lord? Why does somebody not want to accept that there is higher authority? Is because I can do whatever I want. And that's why the same thing was going on in Navadvip, but in a very Vedic fashion. Yes, in a very Vedic way. The rules and regulations were noted down, yes, to the period. Why? Because eventually I'm going to be happy. Why do Smarta Brahmanas, which were present in Navadvip, following the rules and regulations? Why were they not enjoying left, right, center like today we have? Most of the world is enjoying their senses to their fullest. They're trying to do that, but in Navadvip, They were not doing it the way we do it, like I do it, or most of the world does it. It's they were following the laws of the Lord, following the laws of nature to enjoy as such so much more. Yes, so that they feel that they're materially satisfied. Okay, so this is the difference between material world not following the laws of nature and following the laws of nature, is that at least by following the laws of nature one can become materially satisfied and then realize that yeah, this there is nothing in this material world. And that's why varnashram Vedic culture provide the best of the best tools to satisfy our sense gratification in such a way that we become ultimately dissatisfied from it and then try to go back home, back to Godhead. So that's why Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that Arjuna, do not focus on the flowery words of Vedas. Why? You might be lured by them. You might be attracted by the fruitive activities over there. And mostly they are filled with that. So the same thing is the situation in Mayapur and Navadvip. Yes, this is the exact situation where people are using the Shastras to satisfy their own senses. They're following the Shastras. Why? Because tomorrow, definitely, I'm going to have a happy life. You know, Today, a little effort is going to give me a lot of benefit. And they knew that the heavenly planets exist, they knew that there is a hell. And that's why going to the heavenly planets and enjoying forever was the ultimate aim. And that's why there is no need to actually chant. There is no need to actually do yajna for the satisfaction of Krishna, for the satisfaction of the Lord, for the satisfaction and to give the Lord, give pleasure to the Lord. Yes, there was no understanding. Yes, there was no understanding in Navadip and Mayapur at that time. So that's why Advaita Acharya, seeing the whole situation, okay, one might ask that what is so wrong in this? What is so wrong in this? And I used to question that part, that what is so wrong? So what they were enjoying? So what? But at least they're following Vedic culture. They're following the rules and regulations, which I today cannot follow so much. And what is so wrong in following them and getting the benefit from them? That is what Shastras are telling us. So what is so wrong? And but we see on the other hand, Advaita Acharya is weeping and crying and telling, he's trying to preach that, hey, please chant Krishna's name. The Vaishnavas at that time, before Lord Chaitanya, were in a desperate situation. They were actually calling out for the Lord. Why? Because only and only the Lord can actually help all these people in Navadvip. So that the whole question comes up: what is so wrong in doing this material sense gratification? Because it still does not solve the bigger problems. What are the bigger problems? Birth, old age, disease, and death. Janma, mrityu, jara, vyadhi. So recently, a little sidetrack. Recently, when I was approaching the hospitals and everything for when I was in India, and I was seeing how you know uh, the situation was, because we had to do some treatment and all. And I was seeing kids over there. Yes, small kids who come for X-rays, small kids who have some problem. Somebody has something over here. Somebody has something in the heart. Some or the other thing is going on. And it had been a very long time that I had actually visited a hospital to see the situation. It's like I was thinking that, because I was in a very vulnerable situation, I was telling my sister actually that I really don't want to feel the way I'm feeling right now. I really don't want to go through this misery, this sadness, uh, and the pain which I'm feeling right now. I really don't want it. You know, it was so much better because for so many years I have had never visited a hospital. You just hear in the news that so many people have died, so many people have done this, so many people have done that. But actually visiting a hospital and you're in a peculiar, pathetic situation, you start seeing what people are actually going through. You know, I don't know how doctors do it. We have to ask, obviously, Srivan Prabhu, that how is it possible to even, be detached from their work, do nishkama karma yoga. We should learn. I should learn from him. But I was thinking that this is impossible. There's so many people they are facing so many diseases. They're facing near-death experiences, and this is not good at all. And why am I suffering? I was actually weeping and I telling my sister that I really don't want to go through this. And at the same time, because we know Shastra, because we know the epitome of bhakti, that okay, this is the standard you need to attain, then you can go back home, back to God, and then you're going to get rid of. But at that pathetic situation, I was thinking that, hey, I am, I really, this life, I really don't think so. And I have to face this again the next life, and again the next life that comes after that. And this is never going to go away. Someday, but I don't see that future nearby. And I'm like, I don't want to do this. I want to get out of this material world. Why do I want to get out of this material world? Because I cannot handle it. Yes. And this is where the Mayavadis, the Buddhists, and all the other philosophies come and place that, oh, see, you are connected with the material world. That is a problem. You get disconnected from the material world, no desires, no attachments, and you will be happy, which is very common, which is very nice to think about. But this is the problem which was in Navadvip and Mayapur, that they didn't think about it, that, oh, see, some or the other day, you all are going to face this. Yes, this is what the Vaishnavas were seeing, because they don't realize that they are the soul. They can be happy with Krishna. They can be happy in serving Krishna. They can be happy in chanting and dancing for the Lord. And this was lacking. And that's why Advaita Acharya, that's why a Vaishnava is called Paradukha Dukhi. Yes, Maharaj always mentions that a Vaishnava is Paradukha Dukhi. He actually feels the pain that somebody else is going through in the material world. And he wants to help. But how can we help somebody to get out of this material world? And the only thing that Advaita Acharya could see is that I can't do it. I know that if Krishna comes, yes, he can actually bless all these people and have mercy on the conditioned souls, and then they can have a path to go back home, back to Godhead. Yes, and then have a path to go back home, back to Godhead. Because why? Then they will be happy. Then they can feel the highest ecstasies. Then there is no more pain, no more death, no more birth, no more disease, no more death, no more old age. Yes. And that's why, to give us the opportunity, yes, Maharaj was mentioning, to give us the opportunity, Advaita Acharya was day and night weeping and desperately crying out for the Lord, that only you and you can save this whole world, save the whole universe. So please come, please come. What was he doing? He was fasting. He was giving donation. He was doing charity. Every day he went to the Ganga, with a little Ganga water and tulsi leaves. He was worshipping his Shaligram. And with his tears, he was worshipping the Shaligram, praying to the Lord that please come, so that people like me can actually benefit from the process of bhakti. Because if today I did not have this understanding, what other way could I have actually, felt solace? Because this material body, as we know, is gonna end. There is no way that we can be actually feeling that relieved, from this material world. When we are actually in pain, Yes, philosophy takes a U-turn and goes somewhere else. So much, so many people try to tell me so much philosophy, but that does not work. But whatever bhakti we have done and whatever faith we have developed in the Lord, we can actually, I was telling my sister that one thing is good, that, you know, I'm still doing bhakti. I am still, whenever I'm hearing Kirtan, it's giving me some or the other solace. Otherwise, if I wasn't in bhakti, what was my solace? What was my shelter? There is no shelter in this world. Literally, there is no one for the soul other than the Lord. Yes, there is no one in the world other than the Lord. And that's why, to solve this problem, Advaita Acharya requested the Lord to come. And he prayed so much that the Lord had to come. Yes, before, when Advaita Acharya and Haridas Thakur, so Haridas Thakur comes from Benapol to Shantipur, and Advaita Acharya over here in Shantipur is the leader of the Brahmins. He's not a common personality. He's not like, the local Jyotish, the local astrologer Brahmin who's having a 10 by 10 house, and then he's giving predictions that, yo, you're going to be a Karodpati. No, he's not that kind of a person. He's not a common Brahmin who you bring, hey, Vastu Shanti karte, this and that. No, he is the leader of the Brahmins. And that too at a place where there are only Brahmins dominating the whole place. In an age where Brahmins were respected, they didn't have to go out and do a job and do coding, software engineering. No, they didn't have to. They were practicing Shastra, even though they were doing it for the wrong reason, but they were practicing Shastra. In such an environment, for example, it's like, I always get inspired when devotees in a temple like Vamshi Gopal Prabhu or Trivikram, when they come in that heat of Janmashtami, Sandeep Prabhu, they always go and do the whole service of putting up the lights and everything. And I'm like, how are they doing it? That is so hard. Once I was with them and I'm like, oh, this is too hot. I really can't do this. But it has been an everlasting service for them. They have been doing it. And to actually see that, to actually see them do that service, it's like, uh, another standard. I'm like, okay, I have to reach that standard, then there will be something for me in the future. But over here, Advaita Acharya is a standard amongst all the standards. He is the perfect Brahmana in Shantipur. And so what happens? He every year, yes, every year, and when there are pitras, like glorifying your forefathers, you have a big feast for the forefathers. He always used to have that feast. And all the Brahmins from all over the place knew that Advaita Acharya and Sita Thakurani used to make the best of the best feasts, and they were going to serve it. So there were hundreds of Brahmins who would come, top class Brahmins would come to his house. Yes, top class Brahmins who would come to his house every single year, and every year Advaita Acharya would. It's a custom that the leader of the Brahmins gets the first meal. Yes, the leader of the Brahmins get the first meal. So every year that's happening, and everybody, it becomes a standard. For example, it's like at a big, there's a politician who comes into a big festival in Pune or somewhere, and there are many politicians over there, suppose. So the person who gets the first, honor, all the other politicians know that this is the guy for this festival, or this is the guy for this program, and it's a very important thing, because everybody in the whole thousands of people around know that, oh, see, this guy got it before this guy. Status, prestige, pran pratishtha, sorry, pratishtha, you know and that's why it is the same thing over here. If that Brahmin is going to get the first meal at Advaita Acharya's place, imagine how many pujas he can do. How many people are going to come to him? Because he is the guy. It's a testimonial from Advaita Acharya. Yes. And every year this is happening, and everybody is waiting for that day when they can actually, do something. And that's why they will come with all gifts and everything, for when Advaita Acharya has his own feast for his forefathers. But this year was something special because recently Haridas Thakur had entered the town. And because as Haridas Thakur enters the town, we know Haridas Thakur was or is not from the Hindu community. He's from a Muslim community. He has he's an outcast from the Muslim community, and he's an outcast from the Hindu community because nobody actually wants him. Because once a Muslim, obviously the Hindu community is never going to accept because you are born as a Mlecha and Yavana. You can never become a Hindu. And even today, that's why when Prabhupada actually what Prabhupada did, that not seeing any caste or creed, he actually initiated devotees. It was a big problem when he came back to Vrindavan in India because people were criticizing him. But he was following the Shastra. And still people were criticizing him even today. Imagine 500 years back, how bad it was. Wherever you go, you're persecuted. Wherever you go, you're an outcast. You have been beaten in 22 marketplaces, beaten to death. Yes, the order is to beat you till you die. But he didn't die for the 21 times. And that's why the 22nd time when Haridas Thakur actually said, what, why are you guys, trying to kill me, and why are you crying? He was telling the soldiers. The soldiers were like, if we don't kill you, our family is gonna die. Why our family is gonna die? And we are gonna die. Why? Because obviously we didn't do our job. The Muslim king is actually going to kill us. All of us. It's not only one person, it's all of us. My family, my friend. He's gonna kill everyone. Yes. So, so that's why we want you dead. Yes, that's why we want you dead. So Haridas Thakur looks at them and like, oh, that it shouldn't be a problem. So what he does, he just lays down and he's like, check me after 5 minutes. And he lies down, and what happens? They start checking his pulse. He's actually dead. His pulse over here, it's dead. His heartbeat is dead. No signs of any life. So what do they do? Because what do we do in a Hindu community with a person who dies? We burn him so that he does not have any attachment to his, there's so many reasons for burning the body. But Haridas Thakur, he can't be burnt. Why? If he's burnt, then we accept that this guy is from our Hindu community. Obviously, we can't do that because we have reputation. This is not possible. On the other hand, the Muslim, we can't bury him because in the Muslims we bury. If we bury, then we accept that he was a part of a community and he was chanting Hare Krishna, so everybody can chant Hare Krishna. So then, oh, what is the difference? Oh, no, we can't do that. So what should we do with the body? We can't put it over here. So what do? The best thing was to just pick up the body and throw it in the Ganga. So they pick up the body and throw it in the Ganga. The body flows down a little while and it touches the shore somewhere. And Haridas Thakur gets up, starts walking, chants Hare Krishna, and is walking on his way. This kind of a personality meets Advaita Acharya. Now we can't even imagine how happy they were with each other. You know, in the ocean of misery, yes, when you get a tinke ko sahara that we call in Hindi, that that you're in the ocean and then you find a plank. I don't know if you guys have seen Titanic, but then there's a plank, that people are actually staying alive on because the water is so cold. So that plank is your life in the whole ocean, right? So the same thing, when there are no devotees and when we feel the pain of not having devotees nearby, That means we are actually making progress because we are understanding the value of devotees. And because there were no devotees to be found, Advaita Acharya and Haridas Thakur were so happy to see each other. Yes, they were so happy to see each other because usually, it is an etiquette in us that, if we see it's an aprad, if a Vaishnava walks and if we are not happy to see him, it's an aprad. Yes or no? We know that that's a rule. But why is it a rule? It's a rule for us so that we don't make Vaishnava aprad. That's one thing. But because we don't even know the value of a Vaishnava, that's why the Shastras have to tell us, hey, dude, don't make this mistake. You have to be happy. You don't know the value of devotees. You know, you don't know the value of devotees. And that's why you should be happy to see a devotee. And maybe after you get used to it by the mercy of the Lord, you will really become happy one day to see the devotees. Yes, all these rules, if you really see, they're all trying to make us personal. Advancement of a devotee is how much we value devotees. Yes, what does a neophyte do? He pays attention to the deity more than the devotees. Because I know the Lord and I am the only person who exists. My standard is the standard and nobody else can come to my standard. So I am happy, the Lord is happy, we don't need anybody else. But that is a neophyte devotee. Yes. A madhyama A Madhyama is a person who has started valuing the devotees, who is starting to value the devotees over their own relationships, okay, over their own status. Why? Because this is a very important point, because I also have to stress it a lot for myself that the devotees are our life and soul. Yes, if we can't, if we can't. If we naturally don't have love, at least we should try to love. Yes, what does Prabhupada say? If you don't have the desire, you should desire to have the desire. If you don't have the desire, then you desire to have the desire to have the desire, and it goes on and on. Yes, but we won't stop there. The whole point is that I was actually amazed to see that, even as devotees, we sometimes, because we have our attachments and material attachments, our blood relatives become more important than devotees also, because I've seen it in my life, you know and and it is actually sad, okay, because this is the example now Advaita Acharya is actually setting, that he is the leader of the Brahmins, he is from the Brahmin community, he has everything: status, wealth, you know power. What else? Na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim. Sundarim, obviously. Advaita Acharya is the plenary portion of the Lord. He's very beautiful. He has everything. So, what does he do for that year for his forefathers' worship? The first plate amongst all the hundreds of Brahmanas, everybody is waiting. Who is going to get the first plate? What does he do in front of every single person who's going to watch him? He calls for Haridas Thakur because Haridas Thakur is outside the parameters of the house. Why? Because he knows, Haridas Thakur knows that this is, I don't want to cause any trouble to Advaita Acharya. I don't want to be, I want to be the servant of his servants. And that's why his association is so valuable to me. But right now, for his sake, I don't want to sit over here. For his sake, I don't want to cause him any trouble. Because I know these Brahmanas are going to ostracize him, kick him, say something to him that is going to hurt him and cause trouble to him. So let me just be away from here. But Advaita Acharya actually brings him over there in the whole sabha of the Brahmins. And what does he do? He takes the first patra, the first prasadam plate, and actually offers it to Haridas Thakur and makes him eat it in front of every single person over there. Now, if we just hear this story, Wow, so nice, such a revolutionary thing. No, it's not only that. It's that how much is he valuing? How much is he accepting that a Vaishnava is a life, and so it does not matter what anybody else thinks. Yes. From this pastime itself, it's like some usually in our family, in our relatives, it's common because none of them are devotees and all, and we all must have faced it, you know. Eventually he's your brother, and he's only going to come when you're in need because he's your blood, you know. you know and blood relatives, like khoon ki naate, what is that? Khoon ke naate. And in Hindi we call all that raktachi naate in Marathi. There's so many names. Why? Even in Western world it is there. Eventually he is your brother and your sister, so don't talk to him like that. When there is nobody, you'll value your family. Yes. But why is this over there? Because all these people have the conception of the body. Yes, it is, a little bit, um, what do you say? It's easy to actually depend on family because they're just there. But actually, this is not what we are trying to do. This is not what Prabhupada or Guru Maharaj has given us. If you see Radhanath Maharaj, any sannyasi or any guru, even Srila Prabhupada himself, he loved his white devotees. Yes, they were not from his own background. They were not from Calcutta. They were not from his, alley somewhere. They were not even his same skin. But so much he loved them so much. Yes, the first thing, like Advaita Acharya giving the first plate to Haridas Thakur, and Haridas Thakur was actually baffled. He was saying, no, 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 no. Because Haridas Thakur is in love, loves Advaita Acharya so much, he doesn't want to cause any trouble. And this is a real perfect relation. Yes, we might be betrayed by devotees because they might be on the same, they might be on a material platform. But that does not mean that all devotees are going to be that way. We have to, till the time we don't develop these relationships with other devotees, not all of them, obviously, because, how can you have that is impersonal actually. But we have to learn to give our life and soul in service of another devotee. And that is what Advaita Acharya is showing over here. Why? Because if we can value a person who's actually beside us, if we can value and take care of a person who's actually beside us, then only we can talk about loving Krishna. Why? Because right now, who is Krishna for us? Yes, he's in the, झाँक के देखो अपने अंदर भगवान है. Look within your heart and you'll find the Lord. How can I haven't, mm, I don't know how to do it. If somebody else knows, please tell me, like roll your eyes, or look, do an X-ray and find, Lord Sri Ram over here. No, we don't know. The conception of God for us is actually still, we are still developing it. We still don't want to accept that the Lord is our master. We want to do whatever we want. How are we going to love such a person who we can't even approach so nicely? Yes. But that's why it is said advancement in bhakti is how much you value devotees. Radhana Maharaj in one of his lectures, he was mentioning association of devotees is more value. It A person who has association of devotees is more fortunate than even Brahma. Why? Because in the whole creation of Brahma, the only valuable thing is association of devotees. That's why we have to be very careful when we deal with devotees. We have to be very careful with their association. We should depend, yes, on their mercy. We should thank Krishna and be grateful that we at least have devotees to share Krishna consciousness with. Believe it or not, if we don't have devotees, and try talking about Krishna to somebody else. In my childhood, not childhood, when I was in 11th or 12th grade, and I didn't meet the devotees till then. I met them later after a few years, and I used to talk at home. I remember I used to talk at home, and I used to say, you know what, Tukaram Maharaj did this. The Lord is so nice, and this is what he went back home, back to Godhead. And then everybody used to look at me and they were like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Mm, mm, mm. It's fine. Big deal. Yeah, 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 we agree. And I was like, maybe I'm putting too much value to all this bhakti and all. But after, a few years when I met my friend in college, and I understood that, he's coming from a similar background, I was so happy. It was so nice to talk to a person who can relate to it. It's like many of our congregation children, right? They like some like dinosaurs, and I actually heard somebody talking about dinosaurs, and I love dinosaurs, and then this person was like, they were talking amongst each other, and I was telling them, hey, you're talking about dinosaurs, is it? And they're like, yes. Do you like dinosaurs? I'm like, yes, I'm a big fan. Have you seen this? Do you know T-Rex? Do you know this Velociraptor? This, that? And we all were having a chat. But if I talk the same thing to my sister about dinosaurs, she'll be like, hey, shoo, what is this nonsense? I don't want to hear all this. Talk about something else. You need to find the right association. And we don't even know how much we should value for what we've got. And this is what Advaita Acharya is actually proving, that how much faith do we have in devotees? When it says that serving the Vaishnavas contains everything, it has everything. So I remember when we bought this house, I was telling my mother that yeah, after we do kirtan and after we call all the Vaishnavas and they have prasad and all, if they are happy, then it's done. We don't have to do anything else. That's more than enough. But my heart somewhere, in the back of the mind, hey, what if, we have to do this puja? Oh, we have to do this. Oh, what about this? Yes, we have to do those pujas. But am I doing the puja because I am not having the faith that, oh, serving Vaishnavas is the ultimate goal? Or I'm doing the puja because, I just want to be. What if serving Vaishnavas is not going to work for me? What if it impedes my sense gratification? What if somebody comes and tells me, hey, you didn't do this puja, that's why you're suffering right now? I don't want to hear all that. Do I have faith? Do I have faith in the Vaishnava in serving Vaishnavas? Not so much. But Advaita Acharya over here, if we see that he is actually giving the first plate to Haridas Thakur, who is an outcast from every angle. But because he's chanting Hare Krishna and he loves Krishna, Advaita Acharya is giving the highest respect, the highest prestige. And all the Brahmanas actually were disappointed in Advaita Acharya. They actually said words to him that, how can you do this? How we won't eat over here? And your forefathers are going to suffer because you did such an act. They cursed and they went. But Advaita Acharya was not baffled. He could have done, if I was in his place, what do I have done? Let everybody eat, but I'll keep the first plate on the side. Or I'll just take out the first plate and then eat fast, fast, fast. Hey, le, jaldi, jaldi khatam karo. And then bring everybody in. Hey, no, no, but this is the first plate, you're getting. He could have done all that, but he didn't, because he wanted to prove that a Vaishnava, even though he's an outcast, he's much more superior than a Brahmana. Yes. So we need to see that, oh, are we focusing? Yes, our blood relatives are important if they are devotees, well and good. But if they are not, are we putting the Vaishnavas above our blood relatives? Do we tolerate another Vaishnava's insult? when they are in front of, our family members. It because Krishna is watching all this. Yes, Krishna sees how much faith do we have in the devotees. Krishna sees how much faith do we have in our own material attachments. And then there is progress or there is no progress. Sometimes people say, hey, I've chanted, so many years I've chanted 16 round, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, whatever. Or 10 years, somebody say, well, I've become a big devotee now and this and that. But if there is no value for the Vaishnavas in that devotee's heart, he's actually not progressed. There is no progress. Because that is a category. Advancement in bhakti is valuing the Vaishnavas. And this I had heard 4 years back or 5 years back. And I was like, oh, I didn't realize this is an important part. I cannot take Vaishnavas cheaply. We do sometimes. I've made so many mistakes. But at least we should know this, that there is no progress. The only and only way to progress in bhakti is serving the Vaishnavas. Yes, that's why I remember whenever we have our morning program and everything. The last one is, let us offer our obeisances to the devotees who are like desired trees. It's not just to say, Vancha kalpataruvesya kripa sindhuvaya patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Yes, it's not just a thing to say, oh no, but Prabhu, he's not a Vaishnav, you know. Then what is he? He's chanting Hare Krishna, he believes in the Lord. No, no, but he has done this. But my family members have done so many things. But I still talk to them. I still consider them as mine. Why over here? Because we really don't consider them as ours. If it was our child, if it was our relative, if it was, our whoever, my mother and father or my husband and wife and then all my children, would we have treated the person the same way as we are treating this devotee today? The answer would be no. We won't. Because we have material attachment. We are working on the perform of the body. And it's a fact. Yes. So Advaita Acharya is not just, we always talk about facts that yes, he's the incarnation of this and blah blah blah, and then he called the Lord and then the Lord came and everything happened. But the if you see Advaita Acharya's life, his whole life is in serving the Vaishnavas. And later onwards, that's when actually when Advaita Acharya and all the Vaishnavas are sitting and chanting Hare Krishna or discussing Bhagavatam, Lord Chaitanya as a child used to come and call for Vishwaroop. Vishwaroop was actually, he used to always love the devotees and used to always love sitting with them and studying about Krishna, chanting, doing kirtan. He always used to love it. Because he loved Krishna. That's why anything related to the Lord, he loves. Yes, anything related to the Lord, he loves. And that's why he used to always go there. So Sachi Devi used to tell Nimai, hey Nimai, just go and bring a brother. So Advaita Acharya and all the Vaishnavas are crying in desperate need that, hey, the Lord will come. We have to pray harder, What will happen to these people? And then Nimai walks into the Sabha. And it's a very beautiful story. He walks into the Sabha and all the Vaishnavas just look at that small kid. Now, the Vaishnavas are not attached to anything. These are all Paramhamsas. They are not attached to the body. They are not definitely attached in material parental affection. Yes, they are not attached. But seeing Nimai, his eyes are so beautiful. You know, he's golden. He's Gauranga. He's golden. He's so fair. He's so golden in nature. His lips, reddish like the bimba fruit. His small nose like the sesame flower. His curly hair and all the dust on his face. And he walks and he's walking towards Vishwaroop and he's pulling his dhoti. Vishwaroop, let's go, let's go. Sachi Mata is calling, let's go. All the Vaishnavas, they just stop doing whatever they have to and they just start staring at the boy. And they start developing, Advaita Acharya is feeling that, hey, why am I feeling so much love? This is when I feel that, when I'm chanting. or when I'm calling out for the Lord, this is what I feel like. It feels like my prayers have been answered. You know, my prayers have been answered. The Lord is here. But this small boy, I don't know why I love him so much. And everybody used to be stunned. And Vishwarup, when he gets to know that Nima is calling him, he actually used to take Nima, hastily. Why? Because Vishwarup knew that Nima is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is Krishna. He is Krishna. He's come to reclaim the conditioned fallen souls. Yes, fallen conditioned souls, sorry. He's come for whom? We usually think he's come to reclaim the fallen conditioned soul. And I'm like, yes, he came for me and you, rather more me, you know. And it's so beautiful that Srila Prabhupada actually made it so accessible for us. And he developed that platform so that we as devotees can come together and advance in devotional service so nicely. So that we can actually practice, yes, Vaikuntha Dharma. Prabhupada said that if all become devotees of and everybody puts Krishna in the center, then this is Vaikuntha. Why? Because our relationships are focused on the platform of the soul. That we are eternally related with each other in serving Radha and Krishna. Yes, because in our daily life, in our fast and furious life, we forget that we all are related, that the devotees are much more to be cherished. you know and sometimes we say that Pandita Samadarshina. Yes, but if you see Krishna, he is also Pandita Samadarshina, but he is partial to his devotees. He is favorable to his devotees. you know Radhika Raman Prabhu once mentioned that he says ya yatham prapadyante tam sataiva bhajamyaham. Yeah, ya yatham prapadyante, however you approach me, the way I will reciprocate. But Radhika Raman Prabhu says, no, this is a lie. It is not true for devotees. It is not true. It's not the same. He's reciprocate. He's ready to reciprocate so much. He wants to give his life for this devotee. Yes. And when the Lord sees, when Advaita Acharya sees us also giving our life and soul for the service of some other devotee, then yes, definitely we will see Nimai, walking into our midst. And we won't even realize he's there, but we will make us happy so much that we are like, why am I feeling so happy? The Lord is looking so beautiful. You know, I really feel like chanting more. I really feel like talking more about the Lord. I really feel like, discussing more about the Lord, studying Shastra more, you know, not because it is a thing to do anymore, because I like it, because I love it. Why? Because if we love his devotees, that's why we say bhakti, that the one verse is there, right? Where Vishnu Puran, it mentions, and worship of my devotees is greater worship than me. Yes. And that's why we say Dandot Pranam, Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandot Pranam, Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandot Pranam, all, please accept my humble obeisances and all that stuff. But for that moment, yes. But do we really love? Do we really care like we would care for our own relatives, for our own, you know, mother and father? It's very difficult. Because I see that in my life, it's really difficult to do that. And in today's day, yes, I don't want to, uh, uh, like, just say that, oh, we are not making progress. This whole community which we have is so loving and caring. I have received so much love and care that I'm always grateful to Krishna that for giving us such wonderful, temple president, Shama Mohini Mataji, Trivikrama Prabhu, Nampriya Mataji, Shivoyam Prabhu, Aishwarya Prabhu. The list doesn't end, you know. Even the new devotee feels that, it's so nice to be here. So it means that we are making progress. Yes. The more we consider a devotee closer to our heart, the more we are making progress in serving and pleasing Advaita Acharya. And once we've pleased Advaita Acharya, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says it's very easy to get Gaur Nitai. Yes, it's very easy to get Gaur Nitai because we cannot approach Lord Chaitanya directly. We have to approach first through Advaita Acharya, then to Lord Nityananda, and then to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. After that, then we can approach Gadadhar Pandit, where we can actually enter the Rasa Leela of Radha and Krishna. So yes, it is a long path for me, definitely very long path, and I pray that I can actually value the devotees like Advaita Acharya does to Haridas Thakur, and I hope that you all can bless me so that I can actually do that very nicely, like you all are already doing. So we'll stop here today. शिला अद्वैताचार्य की जय, ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, ग्रंथराज चैतन्य चरितामृत की जय, निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल, जय श्रीला प्रभुपाद. Thank you so much again for joining today on a weekday. So thank you again. Hare Krishna. If there are any no questions, we'll just stop or
Hare
uh,
Krishna. Thank you very much for
go ahead.
always,
Yeah.
always inspiring, always ready to share nectar with everyone. Thank you so much. And this is what is needed. They have the right inspiration and the right intention to serve. And with that, definitely, it's